Welcome to the Wednesday MatrixGold webinar. I'm your host, as always, Bo Vallo. For those that don't know, these webinars occur every Wednesday. So today I also have Michele from Italy. Michele, you want to say hi?
Hi, everybody. You hear me? Let's test a little bit of audio on it.
Yeah, we sure do.
That's good.
So let's all welcome him. Just a few housekeeping things. I'd like to make sure everyone can hear us. If you can, just shoot us a question or chat and just say yes. Hey, Ted, how's it going? All right. So it looks like everyone can hear us. Great.
Sounds good.
So as I alluded to, we have a special treat today. Today we have Michele, who is one of the partners from Italy, right? He's a great friend of Gemvision and a great jewelry designer. So I'll be turning the controls over to him shortly, but I want to let everyone know to please send your questions through the questions tab. I'll be monitoring them while he takes the helm, and I'll relay them over to Michele. Everyone will be impressed and blown away. So with that, Michele, if you want to give us a little background, and I will give you the helm.
So yes, I am from Italy. So my company is actually with Gemvision. We are the dealers for Gemvision now since 2005. So that's about 16 years now. So if you can call me one of the old guards. In my company now, what I do mostly is advanced training. So I help out those people that need a little bit more higher training than not, let's say, basic training. And I fix and let's say help people get to a point where if they have problems or they are stuck, I try to help them with Matrix and understand how to get to the point where they really want to get to. So I try to help customers mostly to get to the end of their job, if we can say that. My experience is mostly got from time. After 16 years you're doing it, you try to get good at it. So that's mostly where my experience is mostly in time. So I hope I can share something with you guys in that. And I'm going to show you guys something a little bit different, I think, than a normal webinar. So we'll see.
I've seen what you have in store, and it looks pretty great. So can't wait.
Yeah, let's say I don't do a lot of webinars. I actually never do them, not live at least. I do a lot of videos. You've probably seen some of my videos maybe online on the Gemvision channels, on my channel. So I like to try to always, when I do a video or do a presentation, something that's not has been seen yet. And so that's where we're mostly going to go today. So it's going to be a little bit more advanced maybe than your typical webinar. But the goal is to show things to people that maybe really want to see something different. We can say it that way mostly. So if there's not any questions, I would probably start.
Yeah, I think we're good to start. I'll go ahead and monitor, and if something comes up, I'll let you know.
Okay, so let's see if I can share my screen here. Just give me a second. Let's see, there we go. So that's going to be screen share. So do you see my screen?
Yes, we should. Yep.
You should. Everybody sees it? I think they do. Nobody's complaining. So sounds good. I'm going to just throw some things out of the way here. So MatrixGold. What is MatrixGold? Well, MatrixGold is mostly a new software. It's been on the Gemvision, let's say, rather now about 3 years, a little bit less on the market, maybe almost 2. So it is a new software that is implemented. We can say a little bit of what was our old Matrix and what was Rhino Gold. So from Matrix and Rhino Gold, we now have MatrixGold. So this is totally new software. We're now in a more dynamic parametric type of technology. So we took all the experience we had with our other 2 softwares and put it all together to make a new product. So let's start to see what's inside MatrixGold. Well, the first thing a lot of people ask me is what's so new, especially regarding the old Matrix, the old Rhino Gold versus MatrixGold. Well, the most important thing is for sure that now it's parametric. And parametric means that I can, if you want to make it in a simple way, is that we can now change things very rapidly. We can fix things or have modifications of something that we were designing in a very fast way. So, you know, in the older Matrix and older Rhinos and the older Rhino Gold, when we're designing, a lot of times it's feeling like we're doing like 2 steps ahead and 1 step backwards to fix something. In this case, we'll see that it's going to be a little bit more easier to fix things, and so it's more dynamic. That's what we call a lot of our tools dynamic commands. So MatrixGold has a lot of, we can say, builders. We call builders those things that are automatic things that build something for us. So we have like all the normal stuff that people would imagine, such as head builders and bezels and hollows, all that nice stuff. But what I want to show today is mostly when we're to a point where the builder is not enough. So that's the biggest difference between Matrix and other softwares out there. So there's other softwares that give you builders like Matrix, so you have a head or rings and stuff like that. But the biggest problem when we're doing something like that is that when the builder doesn't do what I want it to do, then we get stuck. So how do I get over that point? And not only how I get over that point, but I also want to have what I make be as parametric as the one that's already inside MatrixGold. So that's where we're going to go. I'm going to go in start showing something where it's mostly in that direction. So let's start with a head, something very easy. So in MatrixGold, if I start with a gem, I get my gem, I can go here and I can put a head on that. And that's very nice. There's a lot of cool things I can change in this, as in height and number of prongs and all that nice stuff. But this is where, you know, we got very advanced. There's so many things you can do with a head here, but you're always going to get to a point where, well, I want to do something different, right? Well, I wanted my prongs to twist. Does this twist? No, it doesn't. So I get stuck at that point. Or I want to put a certain different prong here in a different orientation. How do I do that? So and most of the times, you know, 90% of the times, what you're going to do with a normal head is fine. But when you get to a point where you need something different, that's where everything breaks down. That's where other softwares can't go ahead. Let's see what we can do in Matrix. So in Matrix, the biggest difference now is that we give you all the commands to make your own head or griff or whatever you call this in your country. So that's maybe the biggest step. So, and we'll do that in a certain way where we can obviously make it parametric. So let's do it by hand. So let's try to do something like a simple head. Well, a head is not, it's quite easy. What it is a lot of prongs and 2 little under rails. So we'll start with that. So I'm going to start with a curve out here. And I'm not going to do this as a tutorial. So I'm not going to explain every passage I do just because it's going to take us so much time. And I prefer really to just show you what's the potential of the software. So I'm going to make 1 circle on the top. I'm going to go and do another circle on the bottom. And if I want to make a prong here, so I'll say I want my prongs to twist or something. So what I'm going to do now is first design a simple profile on the top here. And I'm going to rotate that 90 degrees, rotate that another time at 90. And I'm going to say I want to put a prong, something like any measure. Let's do it about 120, same thing. There you go. So this is my first profile. So let's start with the tricks that we can do in Matrix. Well, one of the things that I see that a lot of people that don't grab, that you can copy and paste something. So to put this, I had to go here and ask for the software to put a profile. Then I had to rotate it 2 times, pick my measurement. If I want to do this again, I can just simply do copy and paste. So I can go here, copy, paste. It's my keyboard. Now on the right side, you will see I have 2 profiles. And the second one, I can change that and make it move to the bottom one. So it's a lot faster than not going through the process and doing it over again. So let's start to make a prong. We can do that with our new, where is it? Our new profile sweep. So I'm going to do a sweep without, not that one, let's do profile from here to here. And with the profile sweep, we can see we can adjust the curvature. We can also adjust the seam point. So if we want to make this twist or not, and we can pick that. We can go and obviously start making a cap here. Do another one on the bottom part. And we got our first prong. So as I did before, copy and paste, we can do that for not only like a circle, but the whole technology that is making this prong. What that means is, well, let's say I want to do this over here again. I can mirror that. That's fine. But let's say I want to put another prong here. I want to have it not as a mirror, but I want to have control on a second prong. What I can do is grab everything that's making this prong and just do copy and paste once again. We have another one on top, but where everything now has a separate control. So I, at that point, can go here and grab my profile again. Let's say I want to put it in this position. And grab the bottom one. Should be the second one. Let's try that. There you go. And move that. So I didn't have to repeat myself in making this prong. When I made it once, it's already done. So let's start to try to make it look like a little bit of a griff or a head. So I want to join this. And we can see that even when I join my surfaces into a single surface, so I'm going to do join, we will see that I can keep on changing my profile. Even my joined solid now will adapt to my new profile or my new measurements. So we can do the same thing on this side. And every time I do that, I have auto hide on the bottom here selected. What's that doing is hiding my my surfaces that's in here. So now I just made that, and I'm going to simply mirror this on the other side. Just mirror it on that side. That'll be fine. And let's mirror this one on the other side like that. Let's make it look a little bit more like a griff with making maybe some under bezels. Let's make the smaller ones. Yeah, that's fine. Let's put that. Maybe I can do that once again. Put another one. So what is the difference from this kind of head versus the one we already give you? Well, it's that you have a little bit more control of what you want to make, as in design. So let's make this purple. And so what we can do now is change a little bit of everything. Well, let's say I want to make my bottom prong here go in and out. I can just move that very fast, up and down, moving out the different measurements and stuff like that. So we're having about the same kind of abilities that we would have in the normal prong, where we can pick a little bit more what we want to move and twist. Something like my offset, the first circle I made down here, if I twist that, so I'm going to twist the whole thing, we'll see that all my prongs will move with that. So I can do like crisscross and stuff like that, and have a little bit more control on what I'm making in my head. If I change my gem, we'll see that that will also follow. So let's make it, I don't know, this shape. So, you know, the goal here was to show that there's not only one way to make a head, but if we want to make something that is as parametric as the one that's inside the software, we can do that by making it with our other commands. And this head will be as parametric as the one that is already in the software. And we can save this as something like we can use over and over again in the future. So let's start to do something a little bit more, a little bit harder. Let's try to do something that's a little bit more complete. So let's do file new. And let's start with a ring. I'm going to show you the first ring, a very simple ring. So what we have here is a simple ring, solitaire, but that works a little bit in a different way. What that means is I can move my center gem, that's in measurements, and we'll see that also our side of the ring will move. Okay, also the bezel will move, and everything is adapting. So to accomplish this, we can do what we call a upside down profile. So let's start from scratch. So we'll start with ring. We'll start with the gem on top. And what I did, what normally you can do is put an outside profile. So if you do an outside profile, obviously you can change the shape and everything. But one thing you cannot do with this is, as I was saying before, have your side profiles move with your gem. So what I want to do is try to get the same thing, but without using the outside profile, but making my own. So I'm going to go here and offset my outside here. So let's say I'm going to put that about 1.8 or whatever. and I'm going to break this down with a trim. So I'm cutting this in half. I'm going to put my gem guides. Gem guides are the way to where I can hook up to a gem, certain curves that will help me to like snap. So I'm going to put that on this direction. So I have my prongs on the side here. And to accomplish the outside curve that I want to make, I'm going to go here and use my blend curves. So I'm going to blend from this direction to, let's say, this point. You can obviously change the direction of that blend. So I'm going to change both this and this. So what I'm doing here is getting a way where I can choose the outside of my ring. And I don't have to go and change it with the outside profile. Let's mirror this on the other side. As you can see, this one has disappeared. That's because that's normal that when we do a blend that will be hidden in automatic, because I have hidden that down here. We're gonna go here and I'm gonna go and say I want to have my trimmed shown again. There you go. And now I'm gonna join this curve, and this curve into one. Oh, did I do that twice? Yeah, I did. So I don't need two of those. Select that. There you go. So I'm going to join these three into one curve with our join. Okay, so what is this going to do? It's going to give me a chance to move this gem and have those lines adapt to my new position. I can change the shape of my gem or the dimensions, and we'll see that these outside ones will adapt. So now my outside is also hooked to my gem. So now we can do our profiles. Normally, when we do a profile in Matrix, we normally start from the inside out. This time, we're gonna go from the outside in. So I'm gonna go here and do a add profile to what curve, that's the curve I wanna add it to. So I'm gonna go here now and rotate this. So my green arrow is gonna look down to my ring. So I'm going to rotate that with our blue in 90 degrees. Oh, that's wrong. It had to be minus 90. So let's do that once again, 180. And I'm going to tell the profile that there is a other outside ring that's actually the inside ring. So where we have outside, I'm going to use inside this time. And I'm going to hook that up. So now that's going to give me the chance to be able to move this, and with my red handle, also connect to the bottom part. So I'm gonna mirror this profile on the other side here. And we're gonna take off the rotation, we don't want that. And now I have the same as I would have with a normal, let's say, way of designing with the outside, but where my gem is actually controlling, let's see if I can fix that, is controlling my ring. So we can go now and do my sweep 2, 1, 2, my profiles. Oh, I did something wrong there. 1, 2, my profiles. There you go. And we start to have our outside, where we always have the same kind of technology that we would have it if we would design it, let's say, in a more typical way, more Rhino Gold or more a Rhino way. It's upside down, but we can see that now my ring is totally controlled by my gem. So at this point, I can obviously go here and put a head. I can go put a bezel, and in this case, we'll do a bezel. And maybe have that come down, maybe have that a little bit thinner. See that angle here. And we'll make that just look nicer like that. If we want to cut this, obviously we can do that with a cutter. So we're gonna go here and say, I'm gonna cut that with my fin cutter. And we got a parametric ring where we have full control, as I was saying, by the measurements of our ring. So my ring can get bigger and smaller, everything will follow. I have the chance to change the measurement and the size of my gems. Everything that was made can be changed in this direction, and we'll see that the whole ring will adapt. So I went a little bit faster as in a normal, maybe showing how to do this. I'm concerned that most of the people that are connected already have used Rhino Gold and have used it matrix, and normally we'll design it the other way around. So in this case, we see that we can accomplish about the same thing, but we added more technology to our ring, because now our gem is not only controlling the position of our bezel here, but it's also controlling the position of our profiles. That doesn't mean our profiles are stuck. I can go here and move those as I wish, such as I can go here and move them and to make it closer or farther. I can move them as in measurements, as in thicker or less thicker. So we see we were doing a little bit like advanced step of what we would be doing normally. So how can I bring this to another level? Well, we see that I can also change my outside here. That was my blend curve. So I go here on the right and I change that blend again. So my handles are back, and we can see we can also change that, and that will also change obviously my ring. So I also have the control of the outside. So let's say I want to also have control more on this angle. So maybe I wanted this to change, and we can see, you know, I can change this in this direction with this other one. A lot of things that a lot of customers were asking in the past, if we have also what were called blend handles. What blend handles were in older softwares like Matrix 9, Matrix 8, was a way also to curve these curves here by using a special little hand that will move these in, say, a different kind of rotation. Now, we can accomplish that about the same way. I'm going to go a little bit fast and go backwards. So I'm going to delete everything that I made to this point. And this time, I'm going to go back and put another circle around my gem. But I'm going to go here and not put my guides like I did before. The guides are straight arrows, we can say. So it's only on the z-axis and the y-axis, but there's no way to rotate those. But I'm going to go here now and put another profile. So I'm going to go profile and profile, hit my profile, add that. I'm going to go here and put this here. And this time I'm going to go here and rotate that just a bit, anything like this. And I'm going to change this profile to something that's quite different. Let's say I'm going to go here and have something like this arrow pointy thing. What I'm going to do with this is have a way where I can do the same blend I did before to make a little one. So it looks like a little arrow. And what I did before was blending from that little arrows I had here, my guides, but now I can also blend the same thing from this point to my profile, even if it's a closed profile. Pick, obviously, the orientation, and that will give me, let's change the other one down here. That will give me a extra profile now, where I also have the ability to, I'll show you that, let's show, to change my outside curve here with the orientation of my profile. So not having it stuck directly like this as before, now I can also move that. So it's like a little bit like a blend handle. I can obviously do the same thing as in mirroring this on the other side. Show my trimmed outside here. I can go here and join this as I did before. The only difference between this and the one we just did before is that I added an extra handle here that will give me a way to have a more control, let's say, on the outside of my, did I join that? Yeah, there you go. So I'm not going to go there and place all my profiles once again, but what I wanted to show is we can also have this now orientating my outside, where I'm controlling not only the blend that is obviously always there. Okay, so I can keep on blending this, but I also have the control where this curve is coming to. So, and obviously this is hooked to the gem, and I can move the gem and move the shape. So it's just a little bit a different way of designing that we would normally do with like outside profile, change that profile, but we wouldn't have a way to really control the outside of our ring. So the goal here was to show a little bit a different way of designing. Let's try to do something a little bit more fancy, we can say. So let's try to do something like a chain. So in Italy, they call these a lot Colombian chain, I think. Okay, So my goal here is to make a chain this time that has to be completely parametric. What that means is I want to have a way where I can change the orientation of my cut here. So I did a little bit of a piece of chain here. We'll see we have this mother chain that will go and change the completely how this chain is actually working on my curve here. So I want to be able to go here and change my booleans. I want to be able to eventually go here and change my profile as in different thickness or shape, and my chain has to adapt. So we're doing a parametric chain. So how do I do this? Let's start this from 0. So we're going to start with, we can start like with a simple circle or start with a profile. A lot of times I like to use a profile. That's just because I know that I can after, oh, that doesn't work anymore. There we go. I use a profile. That's because I know I can go here after and change that shape. So, you know, sometimes you have your own profiles that are the shape of your chain. And so you can maybe have 3 or 4 saved that are the ones that you use most. So now I'm going to go here, just get the simple one. So I made a straight line just to have something to have control on. Let's go and put a profile on that. I'm going to bring this up to 0.5. That is exactly in the middle of my curve. I'm going to go here and say I want this about this measurement, and I'm going to go by nose. It's not very important. Yeah, something like that. So first thing we're going to see a little trick here is the movement of these axes. A lot of people I see that they move this. So let's say this is thick 4.8. So I want this in the middle. I'm going to move that halfway down. There's another way to accomplish that, and that is by changing the position of my profile to go down. So what I normally do is make this like a very even number, something like, I don't know, let's do 4. So when I go here and change this is my profile editor. So I'm going to go here and now move this with something like a stamp at 0.5, and that will bring me a way to move this down right in the middle. Okay, well, what this is going to do is now that I can keep on changing the measurements, and this will always be in the middle. So before, if I would just move this down, I will always have to go here back and forth and fix that by changing also the measurement of the height. In this case, it knows that it's not hooked to my bottom part of my profile, but it's in the middle of the profile. So let's start to make a chain out of this. The easiest way is just to put a profile on this. I'm going to go here, do a profile. I'm going to move that about here so we can see that. I'm going to rotate that 90 degrees. Let's go here and make that a little bit smaller. So it's not something in other cases, you will do this about the same way. The goal here is to do it and have it parametric, have it dynamically able to be controlled. So I'm going to go here and do my sweep 1 to make the middle. There you go. And now we're going to start to twist this. So what a chain is normally this one twisted. So we have obviously also our twist command. So I'm going to twist that. I'm going to twist it on this side. I'm going to say I want to twist it not from this point, but from the middle. And I'm going to twist this to start to look like a chain. So we can twist that about, so 30, 35 degrees. It's not a problem. Okay, so we start to see that. So what you would do at this point normally is add a box or add something to do your boolean. So you can like go here in your solids and you do a box, and you can make that centered, and you want to make it a certain height, and you're going to do your booleans to cut your little chain from the top and from the bottom. The problem with that is if you want to change the height of this, it's going to be a little bit hard because you need to change this and you can move with the gumball, but it's not the most practical way to do it. A more practical way is to actually use our commands to make another curve on this. So what I'm going to do is just grab this circle. I'm going to do, again, copy, paste. So now I have a second one. So I have to go do my orientation. I'm going to make this one actually bigger. I'm going to use this to cut my chain. So I'll just make that bigger than that is. Obviously, when you do a boolean, you need a solid. So this has to be a solid. So we're going to go here and do my extrude. Maybe not both sides. Let's just do one side. It's good enough. There you go. So now this solid is controlled by my curve here. I can move this up and down. So that means I can hide that in a certain point. So now I'm going to go and let's say I'm just going to mirror this on the bottom part. Mirror.
Just want to jump in real quick, just so
Yep.
people can kind of understand what you just did, because this is one thing that I've been pushing inside of MatrixGold. So
Yep.
you used parametric commands to create the gem. Then you used an actual Rhino command with Rhino history on with the extrusion. So you can link parametric and Rhino command and Rhino history together to create anything.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
Just wanted to touch on that.
Yeah, that's the cool thing. You know, a lot of people are asking us, well, can I mix the commands? You can mix them easily as yes. So yeah. So I'm going to go and I know this is advanced stuff. A lot of people probably will be to a point where they're saying, well, what are you doing? If it's the first time you're looking at Matrix, this is a little bit harder to understand maybe what's the real difference between Matrix and other softwares, because we're going in advanced mode here. But, you know, I think a lot of people are looking for something like this. So I know I'm going fast, so I hope that's normal.
Oh, you're doing great. Fantastic. A lot of our customers are you know, asking for more control over their models, because they're used to surface modeling, and this is kind of the link that everyone is missing.
Exactly. So, you know, in this case, what I'm trying to do is accomplish what I could have done with a box, with a normal Boolean. But to do that, the Boolean would never follow my curves. So now I did like a simple mirror on the z-axis, and I can easily say, now listen, I want this to be cut by this solid and this solid, even if they're not touching. It's not a problem. They will touch eventually. So I'm going to go here and do my booleans. So I'm going to say booleans, what's my first surface? This is my first surface. What's going to be cut by this one and this one? Enter. And it's going to show me, well, it's not cutting nothing now. Why? Because they're not touching. At this point, what happens is that I only have one curve. This curve was the one I used to do my extrusion. And then I mirrored the extrusion on the bottom here. So now this is actually controlling those two pieces. So when I go close enough, you will see that it will be cutting my chain. But that doesn't break the history, because I can keep on saying, well, you know what? I will probably want this maybe bigger or smaller. So I can see exactly what's going to happen when I'm going to grow this bigger and smaller, as in measurements, thickness, or as in shape. Why not change the shape with something different? I want this squarish. So you have full control, but this is the mother, what I call mother chain. So now let's really link this to make a chain. So I'm gonna go here and make a small chain. You know, it's not a big issue to make a big one. Don't need that. Let's make something like this. So I'm gonna go here and do my orient object on curve. So it's gonna start with asking what curve. Enter. You're going to start with orientating spheres, but I don't want to use my sphere. I want to use a object. So on right here, click object. What object I want to use is this. Push enter. It's going to start doing that. Okay, so you can see, whoa, that's fast. Okay, it's obviously on the side here. So I'm going to orient that down so we can see the chain a little bit better. There you go. And I'm going to make that actually bigger so there's a little bit less of them. No, that was the height. Let's keep that. There you go. Let's make that big. So now I can just go here and say, well, listen, I want this one to go inside here. And this is another thing that we do with Matrix is sometimes we limit the how much a handle can move. It's not because we don't want this to move more or less. It's just a suggestion. When I move this and you say, I want to go more than -1, I want this to really go inside, you can type any measurements you want here. So let's say I want to make it more than -1. Let's do -1.5, a little bit more. Let's try -2. And you can keep on typing until the one you actually see what's best for you. Let's say 2.4, whatever. That's great. I like that. But not only we're doing it with our mother, and you can see there are different measurements. We can obviously put it at the same size if you want to, but you don't have to, especially if we have to do something a lot more complicated, and that is a scaled chain. So when chains scale down, the measurement of the distance between the chains are a lot harder to understand. Matrix will do that for you completely in automatic. So if I go here now and I say, well, listen, I want to taper my chain for some reason. I want to make this so I have a taper. It's going to put a handle here. There you go. Maybe not that much taper. So I'm going to make that a little bit bigger. Let's taper that down so you can see that anyways. And when I taper down, I'm going to also taper the spacing. So taper the spacing. Now we'll see that the spacing has obviously got larger, but I can go here now and push this even further. So let's say minus, let's try 3.5. Yeah, that looks almost there. Let's do minus 3. Let's try 7. So now we have this chain that is hooked up and it will keep the same rhythm. And I can obviously go here and make this bigger and smaller. And I have a scaled down chain. Not only that, I can keep on moving my masterpiece. That means, well, you know what? I want this cut more. So I want to bring this down more. Oh, wrong handle. Let's try that once again. There it is. I want to cut that a little bit more. Let go. See the result. Do I like it? I don't like it. Maybe I don't want to cut at all. Maybe I wanted a normal chain. Maybe I wanted a chain with a different thickness. So you can keep on changing anything here. Your chain will adapt. Let's make this something like that. I don't know. You can see that maybe in plastic mode. So you don't really need now a specific builder to make chains, because what you're really doing is use a bunch of normal commands. So this is not anything you wouldn't do if you're designing Rhino or an old Matrix, but now we're making it parametric. In old Rhino, you would twist this, you wouldn't have the ability to change the twist. Well, you do now in Matrix, because you can go back here to your twist. So you know what, I'm going to want to twist that just a little bit more. I want a little bit more height on that. That would twist, those would twist. So you really have a control where when you make one little chain, you can actually make a lot of different designs and things with that. And you can save this in your library. You can go here and say, you know what, I'm going to save this in my collections. I want to import that into my collections, save to collection, where you want to save it, put it in a folder, and come back and use that over and over and over again. When you make it once, you have it forever. And this is the real difference between a software that will give you a simple builder that will be limited to what Gemvision has thought to put in that builder by not knowing that every single command you want to change, but you can make your own. And that's where the biggest difference is in Matrix. Let's try to do something different. So I'm going to start from 0 again. Let's see, save. Let's do new. Well, actually, I can hit on this. It will do new anyways. So let's see this ring. Oh, I didn't want to do that. That, save. No, thank you. So I don't know how you call these rings. It's cut rings or facet rings. So this is something you see this ring a little bit everywhere on, like, if you look for rings on videos and YouTube, and it's a quite easy ring to make. It's not as easy to make it when you want it to be parametric. So how is this ring made? Well, in a normal design, you will do your ring, you'll put your profile, you do your sweep 1, and you will have a full sweep of this. So you will have this. I'm going to show that, right? Okay, I'm going to hide that now. And after that, you're going to put a block here. You're going to do an array, polar array, and you're going to make that cut this face. Then you're going to do that and cut this face. Then you're going to do another one and cut this face. And the problem of that is obviously that when you're doing a cutting this way, so you're putting a block here in the space, so there'll be something like this. So I'm going to pretend, I'm going to put a block. That's what it's actually doing, okay? And you're going to say, well, this block, I'll make that maybe a little bit more centered, but you're going to do an array of this in this fashion, and maybe pick your number. Let's say that would be probably 12 or something, and use this to cut your ring. What's the problem of doing it this way is that when the ring changes size, this is not going to follow. This is just a block in space, right? So if my ring changes size, this will stay where it is, and my cut will be less or none. If it gets bigger, my cut will be bigger. So what I need is to do the same thing I was doing before, but I need that block to follow my ring. As you can see, if I go here now and edit this in the measurements, oh, listen, I want this bigger. Let's bring this up to, I don't know, 18 3/4. Give it a second. Bam, it's done. So how is this accomplished? Not only you can get to that point, let's imagine we want to make this ring and we want to make that taper. So I want the top part bigger. It's not even going to be enough to do your array because that's going to change totally. I'm going to show that here. Now I'm going to hide my green one. So that was my Boolean ones actually. I want to hide that. So when you're doing this, it's getting a lot more complicated because your array, polar array to go around, not only has to go in one direction, but it's also thinking of the inclination. And that makes it even harder to do, especially if you wanted to make it parametric. So how do we do this? How did I accomplish making it parametric with not the same ring? So the goal is to make it a lot more easier, where I don't have to every time go back and remake this ring from scratch. I make one and I have all the rings that I want with this kind of pattern. So let's start from 0. And I'm going to go and start with a ring. Could be any size, doesn't have to be the size it suggests it's used. Let's say I'm going to go for 18. We can see we can change that anytime. I'm going to go with my first profile. And let's see if we can get that profile. There you go. I'm going to go with the most classic shape there is. So the one that everybody was used to using, Rhino Gold and MatrixGold, are half circle here. Okay. And this can be any measurement. It doesn't have to be a certain measurement. We will see that also our cuts will follow not only the height, but also the thickness of our piece. So let's go here and do my sweep 1. Okay. So what I'm going to do is a little bit similar to my my chain. I need something to cut this, and we can do the same thing as we did before. So I'm going to go here, and I know when I extrude something, it's going to be a block or something that can cut. So same thing. I'm going to go here and do my profile. I'm going to go put my profile on this. I'm going to move this up so there's another profile. Well, if I want this to cut, I obviously need to rotate this in 90 degrees. I want to rotate this down or up another 90. Actually, I want my arrow to look up. So I'm going to do that 180, actually. That's better. So it's easier to grab this. But what I'm going to do is also here, go back and say, you know what, the measurement is 2. I'm going to do the same thing I did before and move this down 1. So it's in the center. And the nice thing, we can save this. So I did this already 2 times. If you're doing more than twice, it means you should save that. So I can save this as a profile. It's going to be circle centered. Oh, I'm not writing nothing. Circle center, or whatever you want. Save. Okay. Let's get that out of the way. So in the future, if I want to do that again, I don't have to go here and move the orientation. It will be already in the middle. So this is actually what I'm going to do. I'm going to go make this a lot bigger. I'm going to extrude that again with our extrude curve parametric. One side is good enough. So as you can see, we're using the same technique I just used to make my chain. So what is this going to do? Well, this is going to be our cutter. And the nice thing is, before I was showing you that if I put a box, that would not follow. This will. So I'm going to go and do an array here. Let's do 12. Why not? Enter. And we can see it's not close enough. That's okay. We're going to bring down my, and you know, we can start hiding things. So like there's too much to see here. If we want to hide that, we can go here and hide those. And if I bring this down, I know it's going to bring that down too. So if when I need to use this to do the cutting, I just show that. is, you know what, I'm going to go here and do my booleans. This green one will be cut by this one, and I'm going to get my first faces. And same thing, we have the control now to see the design. Well, I want this line here to be now touching. So that means I'm just going to go down here and lower this a little bit. I can lower it with my little thing here. That's nice. Or I can actually change that also by the thickness of my extrusion. So even at the extrusion, I can make this bigger, thicker. I can change the orientation, put it down, and this will be controlling my cut. Well, that's not bad. So how do I accomplish the same thing on the sides here? Well, same thing. I don't have to redesign all this once again to get another cutter here. We've seen copy and paste. A lot of people don't use this enough. So my cutter was made by this plus my extrusion. I'm going to show that again. So I'm going to go here and grab those two. You can see they're both grabbed because they're both turned on here. Copy, paste. I'm going to get my second profile here. I'm going to move this down now out of the way. Let's move it with this, push this in like that. And let's do the array on this array. How many? It's the same quantity, 12. This time I don't want it on this side. I want this moved. So 360. Let's make my calculator up here, my big one. So what you do is 360 degrees divided by 12, and that will give you 30 degrees. What that means is this one here is at 30 degrees. Quite easy to understand. So I can tell my polar array that I want to move this not 30 degrees. I want this between these two. That's 15 because between is half. So my objects are 12. This group here, I want this to be at 15 degrees. Very nice. Well, when I'm going to cut this, I probably want to cut the other side too. So I'm going to mirror that right away on the other side. We can start hiding a little bit of stuff. It's too much to see, maybe. Let's just do the cuts. So Boolean, I'm going to Boolean this piece now. This is my cutted one with this side, my array, plus with my other side here. Go enter and see my cuts. Well, I can hide this. I don't need to show this anymore. So we also have commands like they do like very fast hiding. So you want a little trick. When you hide something, you can hide it normally from here. You go hide. Okay, so you select what you want to hide it. Nothing is use the command line. That's GV hide, it's called. There it is. What I do, I have my GV hide on a fast button. So that's F12. So every time I hit F12, it's going to hide what I don't want to see. That's hiding it here. So as you can see, what that's doing now is I cut my ring on top, I cut this on the side, and I can keep on moving my profile. So let's say this is good enough. I'm going to hide that too. I don't want less things to see. I want to hide that too. Let's go. Just push an F12 to hide that. So I want this line a little bit bigger. That means I just need to move this in a different position. It gets bigger. I want this cut less in Z axis. I can move that up. And you're going to have full control on your design. So it's just the same technique we would use to make this ring, let's say in a matrix or in Rhino or in Rhino Gold, with the difference that it's going to be completely parametric. So now what's going to happen is if I move my measurements, so let's make this go down, obviously that's going to bring down my cutters. My cutter's going to cut my new ring, and I have a completely parametric ring cutter that's following the ring. And I can keep on doing, oh, what did I press there? I pressed enter, that's good. And you can keep on changing whatever you want. So let's go back to change one other thing. So like say the thickness. If the thickness is going to move, that's going to move my cutter, it's going to move everything. And there's a fast way to go and change everything. So actually in this ring here, I also did another cut on the side. You can do as many as you want. It just copy and paste the same thing. If I want to hollow out my ring, so let's go and hide this. Don't need to see that anymore. And I'm going to go here and actually go to my profile. A fast way to hollow that out is just go here and do it on this here. So I'm going to move this so you can see that. That's going to go in real time. So I can hollow this out by moving those. You'll see that it will give it a second or two to understand that. And you can move whatever you want here, and you will see that that's going to hollow that out. So how do I get that to taper? I showed you at a certain point it was tapered. Well, that's what we're going to do with Matrix. Why not taper it after the ring is finished? So I'm going to go here and go Matrix, Matrix Tapper. I want to taper the top part. I don't want taper in this direction, but I want this one thicker. We also have a handle for that. And we'll say, well, I just want this one thicker up here. You can actually choose from two different kinds of infinite axis. So this is the user infinite axis. If I want a little bit more bulger, I'm going to turn this off. It's a slight difference, so it looks a little bit more roundish on top, more ringish. Okay, so I got the same thing. Now it's parametrically doing that. So it's not something you cannot do with other programs, if not parametrically. So now the good thing is I can keep on changing any parameter, and this ring will follow, my cuts will follow, everything can follow, and I can keep on choosing to change things. So as we can see, it just brings in the same thing I was designing before. If I had to do this for different measurements and different designs, I would have to redesign this more than once. Now I have one that's going to go to about probably have this be changed 90% of the time. I just go back to this one and change this one to the new measurements I want. And this is the real goal when we're trying to design a little bit more freeform. So let's go and do something different. Why not? So let's try to do something simple this time. Let's go something a little bit easier. So we'll cool off a little bit. Let's go new. Something that I actually got a request the other day. My mouse is killing me. Okay. Let's use, let's do this one. Why not? So this is our, what's it called in English? Let's see, it's our cluster builder. Nice, very nice. So cluster builder does a lot of cool things. You can go here and as a automatic builder, you have, the choice to have outside prongs that are shared. So this is a shared prong between the two gems. You have the outside prongs that are not shared. The inside ones can be shared or not shared. You can change the dimensions, the height, and everything, right? So there's a lot of cool things you can do with this. And this is completely parametric. So if I grow my gem, everything will grow. Gems will be added. The outside ones will be eliminated. You can change the measurement of the gems outside, change the shape, overall shape there, and everything will follow. What will this not do? Well, let's say I want to do something different. As always, everything that's automatic, it's good 90% of the times. Oh, listen, I want this profile to be in a different position. It has to be here and not here. I want to put 3. Is there 3 prongs on this? No. Oh. Can I do something different? I want my bottom profile not to be round. I want this to be square and this to be round. Well, you can't do that because it's just not in there, right? So as always, when you're making something with an automatic command, it's good 90% of the time. For the normal designs, it's fantastic. When you get to a point where it can't do what you want, that's where everything stops. And that's where MatrixGold comes in. Let's do something like this, but in a different fashion. So this is just gems. I'm not going to go here and remake it from scratch this time. This gem was just made with hollow. We have our hollow builder. We'll put gems around here. You pick the measurement, pick the size, don't care. Just for a demo reasons, you can put any measurement, any size, change the shape. It's the same thing. Let's make the prongs. So let's say I want to do something different, something that my cluster builder cannot do. Same thing, I like a lot to use orient on gem. So I'm going to do that here. I'm going to make a master gem. So this is the gem that I'm going to use. Let's put it out here just so you can see that. Bring it up here. Let's make that a little bit smaller. And it's not a problem to have the same size. If you want the same size, so you know exactly the size of the prong here you're going to get, it's going to be the same one on these ones, that's fine. If it's something that has to be completely parametric, it's going to be a scale down to bigger to smaller if the gems are smaller or bigger. I'm going to do it at different size just to show you that it's possible. So how do I make that prong come down? How do I have control? Well, if I have to design one prong here, it would be quite easy. It's just a profile on this and coming down. So let's do that. I'm going to go here and do my outside profile. And that will give me the way to how far away my prongs are going to be. I'm going to do here a prong on a profile on a profile. That is possible. So I'm going to go profile, hit, it's going to ask me which curve. This is a profile, same thing, orientate, 0, rotate, and make that smaller. So it's very similar to what we did at start when I made a head, same thing. At that point, it's so much similar that this could be a math that you keep and using. You save that as a gem with an outside ring with a prong on it. All that can be saved as something that you recycle and don't have to do over again, because you're going to do this a lot of times. You're going to come here and put a prong around a gem. That's how you're blocking it. So this is something you can recycle. I'm not going to go show saving methods, but in Matrix that is possible. So let's go here and copy this, copy, paste. So I have another one. I don't have to do the orientation again. This other one I'm going to bring down. I'm going to bring in underneath my gem. Let's do a sweep profile from this one to this one. Let's make that blend different. And as you can see, the first thing here is take that seam point off. The first thing, see, you can also change your blend. In our original one, you can make this come from this one and that or outside, but you would be you can't change like how much it's blending, where if you do it by hand, you can. You can also change, obviously, the orientation. So this is going to be an outside and inside, whatever you like. So let's do this a little bit fast. Let's put a head on this. Let's put a cap on that. Let's put another cap on that. And I'm going to go and join these very fast into join. And now I have my first prong. So orient to gem. What I'm going to orient is from this gem. What I want to orient is the full piece. Enter to what gems, these gems, enter. And that's when I'm going to start getting. Where I also have control where I can keep on moving my profile in and out. Those will adapt. I can go and change the shape of my top profile maybe in a different way. So I'm going to pick this one. You know what? I want this one a triangle. And that's going to change. I want this one thicker. I want this to twist a little bit. So I'm going to go back, and you can see I'm changing the profiles that are changing my solid. So my joining these all together are not breaking my history. Okay. So let's say I want this to twist. Let's go back to my sweep profile, and I can make this go more like that, more like this, whatever design you like most in that. Let's make this twist a little bit by moving this. I want that a little bit twisty. I like that come to the side. Yeah, why not? Something different. Okay, so as you can see, you have a lot more control because you have the control of changing the top part, the bottom part, the blending of this, how this is going to go up and down just by moving the first one. Well, at that point, they say you want to make one in here. Well, I don't need to restart and do everything over again. What I'm going to do here is going to hide my join. I'm going to show everything actually. Look, open eyes, show everything. Everything will come back. I'm going to just hide my join. So this is the math that did everything. I'm going to grab everything, not the gem, not my outside profile. So this was made by the blend. It was made by a lot of pieces, as you can see here. Well, copy, paste. Now you got a second one. Well, this one now, I want to make another one. Let's move the second curve. Not sure if it's the right one, but that's okay. Let's put that here. And you can move this one. Oh, maybe keep it together. Why not? Let's try to do that. Let's do something different. Oh, you know what? I'm going to pick this one and do something like this. I don't know. I want these two to twist. That's twisting too much. So I'm going to go back here and click on that. and have the control on how much that's twisting. I don't want that twist at all. Yeah, that's a lot better. Why not? And there you go. And let's go back to see my joined one. This is the joined one, show. So that's all joined up. I'm going to join this one, and my cap. Not sure, should be that one. And let's join that once again. Where is join? There it is. Okay. So what do I want this? Obviously, the first one, this one is already moving. Same thing. I don't need to reorientate also the second one. I can just go grab my orientation here and edit. What do you want to orientate? Well, I was mistaken. Not this. I'm going to click on that. It's going to ask me what then. I want to both this one and this one. Enter. And now I got my both. And you can see I did something wrong because what did I do here? Oh, yeah, it's actually too far apart. That's why. And the nice thing is you can keep on changing things and see where you messed up and fix eventually positions and orientations and design. And you have control on your design. And the nice thing is, so let's do something like that. Huh, that's cute. And not only you have the control on this side, but also on this side. So if I go back here and say, you know what, I want a bigger gem. Those will be bigger. It will add gems, add prongs. It will do everything for you. You know what, I want to change the design. I'm going to go here and say this is going to have to be this kind of shape, that kind of shape, whatever kind of shape you like most. And it's going to go back and change everything for you. You can keep on moving your under parts here. So move those profiles and everything will adapt. So you're making your own with our commands, your own cluster builder as you like it, and you have full control on that. And it will be as parametric as the one that we give you that will be for, let's say, normal use or simple design or the everyday cluster design. But when you want something different, you can make it with Matrix, and you can obviously go here and change anything and have full control and have everything completely parametric. So the changing of my ring will change, the measurements will change everything. So as we can see, there's not only one way to do something, but you can do something more and more ways and get different kinds of results. What else? What else did I prepare for you guys?
So I think that may be a good.
That's a good stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, I think so.
That's I actually didn't even know about this this cluster builder right here. So that's pretty fantastic. See, you're even teaching me stuff.
Well, everybody learns from the tricks and tips from everybody else, you know. So that's a good thing of the webinars, are learning things different. Everybody designs in a different way. Experience brings different kind of controls, and you know, you always learn from somebody else. You know, I learn every day. I've been doing Matrix for now 16 years, and you know, sometimes I see other videos from other guys. You always learn something. Yeah,
that's so true. There is one thing that I want to show. There was a question. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, let me share my screen. Let me get you out of here. All right, let's see if I can find it real quick. So Juan asked, how do I remember my project's data when reopening MatrixGold? So he is, so whenever, like, let's say.
Yeah, come back and keep on moving stuff, sure.
Yeah, so whenever you first start a CAD for a customer, right, it's better to create a project right here, Juan. So whenever you do this, you can say, you know, customer, if I can type. Okay, so once that's created, you can come here and design, right? And then you can open up this content manager. So whenever you save that model, either a full save or a job back save, right, it'll go under that customer's project. So here's a few that I created. Well, whenever you save it, you can come here under these and edit, right? So you can say Jane and you can put the customer's name, you can put the designer, you can put the creation date, the CAD labor, and you can even have a project timer. So you can hit play right here and it will continue counting. That way you can calculate your accurate data. So that's just a quick tip. Seems like you have great response. Roma says you are great, Michele. Let's see, very informative. Thank you, Michele.
Yeah, you're
More
welcome.
Michele webinars in the future, please.
Why not? Why not? More than happy to.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you, Michele, for coming today, right, and show us some great features and workflows.
Sure.
Remember, we will be having these webinars every Wednesday, 11 Central, U.S. time, of course. If you'd like to register.
Yeah, that's for the Italian people. That's 6 o'clock in the evening in Italy, because I had a lot of people calling me up today asking if it was 11 o'clock in Italy a.m. It's not. It's always at 6 p.m. in Italy.
Yeah, when you register, is it localized? Does it?
Well, it gives those international timing, so it's CTE and CDD, and people just don't really figure that out very easily. Right? Center European time. What time zone am I? So it's 6 p.m. Italy.
Yeah.
Well, Europe mostly.
Okay. Well, yeah, if you'd like to register, you can go to gemvision.com. Under the Learning tab, there's a webinar. Click it, and you can register for MatrixGold or CounterSketch. I'm definitely going to push for Michele to come back because, like I said, he actually taught me some stuff. So, but we will be having some exciting news coming soon, hopefully, to MatrixGold. Can't really go into too much detail, but stay tuned. Follow us.
I think we have a cool new button called Make Pretty. Do you know that one?
Make pretty, huh?
Yeah. So you design anything, hit one button, and everything becomes pretty.
Yeah, we call that the easy button.
It's coming. It's coming.
Yeah. So, yeah, you can follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook for additional content. All of our tags are at Gemvision Corp. And you can follow Michele on Instagram and Facebook, GVFormaCAD.
Yeah, we're a little bit everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere, right? So if there's no additional questions, we will conclude. I appreciate you all for joining. And if you do have additional questions, you can reach out to us. I will write the email address. I should have done that. info@gemvision.com. So again, Michele, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
It was great. So, all right, guys. Have a good one. Thanks.
Have a good one. Bye.